There she is.
You want to break and steal highly regulated equipment.
This could be our only ticket out of here.
Should be in and out in 30 minutes.
Welcome to the Romulus space station.
Hey folks, it's the blind guy here coming back at you with the sequel, number 2, because I just did this entire review and I didn't realize that the microphone was on mute. So, deleted that, and we're going again with our second live stream ever, and it's appropriate that it is a sequel to the one I just did because we are doing a Should You Watch, a sequel. And so this is Should You Watch Alien Romulus that just came out about 10 days ago or so, and I went and watched it with 2 of my buddies, and I am here to tell you whether you should watch it as well. And so let's talk about what this movie is, where it came from, and I'll pull it up here on IMDb because it's got some cast in it that, I don't necessarily know all of their names. I don't think I've ever actually seen them in anything else. So let's see here. We've got Romulus 2024. It stars. Oops. That is not the right one. So if you are watching and you leave a comment, I will read it and I will answer it as long as it's appropriate. But Romulus 2024, starring, we've got Kaylee Spaney, I think is her name. Spaney, and David Johnson are the 2 bigger ones in the movie. And so Kaylee Spaney plays the main character, Rain, and David Johnson plays Andy, who is an android, and you're told that very early on, so I'm not spoiling anything there. And so I'm going to talk about kind of some general things about the movie, and then if you want to go watch it, then you can pause it there, go watch the movie, and come back maybe and hear my thoughts, because I'm not going to worry about spoilers so much, but they're going to be in the second half of the video if I do put them in there. I just think it would be hard to talk about this without spoiling some of the parts of it that I didn't like. And so this one is, it's directed by Fede Alvarez, I think is how you say it. And so it is not directed by Ridley Scott, which I'm fine with now because Ridley had a shot at 2 other sequels, and they were not good. And so in all honesty and full disclosure, the original Alien, the 1979 movie, is probably my favorite movie of all time. And so I don't know if that makes me biased or if it makes me just hold these to a higher standard, but I'm fairly critical of Alien sequels. I don't have a problem with them. I just wish that they maybe were a little closer to the original. And so let's talk about where this falls in the timeline. So the movies came out in this order. They came out Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection, followed by Prometheus, Alien Covenant, and then this one, Alien Romulus. Now, there's a bunch of Alien versus Predator movies that have never really been treated so much as canon by the Alien movies, but they are, which is fine because they're kind of garbage, but they do seem to fit into the Predator universe more, if that makes sense. Which, interestingly enough, the connection was first made in Predator 2 when there was a skull of one of the aliens inside the ship. But the order that they take place in, as best I can tell, because this movie doesn't directly come out and say it, but from a few lines in the movie, this is what I've inferred about where this takes place in the line. You have now Prometheus, Alien Covenant, Alien Romulus, Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection. If Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection are even considered to have happened in this universe, it's hard to tell. The only reason I think that Aliens happens is part of this universe is because of the Weyland-Yutani name for the corporation, which was just Weyland in the original Alien. So I think it was just Weyland in the original. So I think that's kind of a shout out at the movie Aliens that, yeah, maybe it is considered part of this line. Hard to tell. But so I think this is taking place between Alien and Aliens. As for some of the things that it does well is there's a few things. So it tries to get the atmosphere from the original Alien right, which I think it does a fairly good job at that. So you've got more of the type DOS-looking computer programs, more of the smoky environment from the original. It's grimier. It's more dystopian feeling like the original. All that's really well done in it. It's got some little winks back at the original. I think some of the actual sound effects are from the original, including I think that some of Lambert's screams from Alien are used as some of the ship's engine sounds in this movie, which I thought was interesting. Some of the lines are direct quotes from the original. This place gives me the creeps, things like that, which I'm all fine with that. I have no problem with any of that. And then it starts off, you feel like it's trying to be the original for the first half. You've got one alien in the first half, and it's chasing this crew around this creepy ship. Okay, that's all great. That seems fine. But what I think some of my issues with this, and so now if you're going to go watch it, because I'm not going to, there might be spoilers from here on out. My buddy that went with me, I went with two buddies. One of them disliked it. One of them liked it. And so my buddy that disliked it, it's funny because we both disliked it, but for completely opposite reasons. So starting with Prometheus. So the original Aliens movies were all, the original four were pretty, they weren't highbrow science fiction. They were being chased around by these aliens, and there wasn't a lot of world building, things like that. And then Prometheus comes out, which in all honesty, I was really excited to see. I thought that Ridley could have done a really cool job with it, and he didn't. But it does look good, and I'll give it that. Then it gets into kind of this more highbrow origins, science fiction-y stuff, and then it doesn't ever answer any of the questions it brings up. And then Alien Covenant really doesn't answer the questions. It almost tries to get away from them, but it's still living in the same universe. And so my buddy doesn't like these ones because they don't get into the science fiction stuff enough. He says it's like they try that and then they go back to being a horror movie. Where for me, it's the opposite. I would prefer they stuck out as a horror movie, just stuck it out as that, and not get into this DNA science fiction origins type stuff. I just don't find it that interesting. So it has a little bit of that in it. It starts getting into that and kind of gives some nods back to Prometheus, which I think the movie would be better served if it just completely ignored Prometheus. But it does make a couple allusions back to it. And so if Prometheus is in the canon for this movie, then Alien Covenant's also in the canon for this movie because they're tied together. And so what happened was 20th Century Fox canceled the sequel for Alien Covenant because Alien Covenant didn't do very well because it was kind of dumb. And this one then somehow took the place, so it got made instead. It is made by Scott Free, Ridley Scott's company, and so that's kind of cool. And so those are some of the things that it does pretty well. The main girl, Rain, the main character played by Kaylee Spaney, she does a pretty good job. I like her in the movie. Then Johnson, who plays Andy, he does a pretty good job. So Andy is the android that her father made, so he's been programmed with dad jokes. And so they're all the way through the movie, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But I think a lot of the cast is probably a little young for this movie. The original Alien felt a bit like a slasher movie in space, but with an older cast. If you look at the original cast of Alien, it's really pretty impressive with Sigourney Weaver, Tom Skerritt, John Hurt, Ian Holm. I mean, it's pretty cool. But this one's got seems like a much younger cast. And so it starts feeling almost a bit more like not the good parts of a slasher movie in space, but kind of the not great acting, not very great line delivery at times. And so it's got that working against it. And then it just starts losing its way. It starts off decent, and it's got some interesting stuff, some kind of creepy stuff. And then what it does is it starts introducing more aliens. I always think that's a mistake in these movies. I think that having one alien that's just the perfect organism, its structural perfection is matched only by its hostility, like the original alien. That's a better way to go than having a bunch of them, because if they're all then that tough, you've got to weaken them somehow or else they just kill everybody. And so it's once you start adding a bunch and you start killing them off, and they just don't seem quite as menacing at that point. So that's one thing I didn't really like. And then to me, what's happened in Hollywood, this is kind of bigger picture stuff, and it's not only this movie. I feel like they've lost the guy whose job it was to watch the pitch meeting and to listen to the screenplay and the script and all that. And his only job was to raise his hand and say, yeah, that's really dumb. It seemed like Hollywood had that. They had a lot of things that were proposed in movies. You read about it all the time, and then you're like, wow, I'm really glad somebody cut that off. We saw it with the Jurassic Park sequels, where they wanted to make half dinosaur, half human soldiers. And thank God somebody in the meeting was probably said, yeah, that's really dumb. Let's not do that. Well, this movie actually has a scene in it towards the end where there's a girl who's pregnant in the movie. And I knew immediately as soon as they said that, I was like, okay, we're going to get some kind of creepy body horror thing going on here. Because the Alien movies, I feel like ever since they did the original chest bursting scene, have tried to outdo themselves. And so you had the dog in Alien 3. You had the guy holding the other guy's head in Alien Resurrection, and the alien coming through the guy's head. You had Prometheus had the C-section scene. Alien Covenant had the one coming through the guy's back because it came through some spore in his ear. And then you have this one. As soon as they introduced one of the characters as being pregnant, I was like, okay, already know where this is going. And sure enough, that's where it went. So they ended up injecting her with some kind of DNA stuff that's supposed to improve DNA, but somehow it turns her baby into an alien. Do you see where we're going here? And then she gives a very graphic, painful birth to this alien. And then it grows up really big in front of her very quickly to it's 7 feet tall. But its face looks like her boyfriend's face in the movie, or the guy that got her pregnant, mixed with an alien. And then we're not even done yet. And then she immediately starts lactating, and she reaches down and holds it up, and it's like acid milk. And then the thing crawls up to her and starts trying to nurse with its little alien mouth. And at that point in the meeting, the guy that should have been there would have said, yeah, that's really dumb. But unfortunately, I don't think that guy lives in Hollywood anymore. And so they made it. It's in this movie. It's towards the end of the movie. And what hope was left was immediately crushed for me at that point. Because at that point, up to that point, it had been okay. And if it had had just a killer ending, I probably would have put it in the top 3 of the Alien movies of all time. And it just, at that point, just got so stupid that I don't know where I would put this thing. Overall, it may be better than Alien Covenant and Prometheus, maybe. But I feel like that scene is so dumb that overall Alien and Alien Covenant were dumber as movies, but they didn't hit anything quite that level of dumbness. So I don't know. Do you want to watch a movie that's not quite as dumb but gets super dumb at the end, or a movie that's just kind of dumb the whole time? I don't know, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think about that, because I was just disappointed at that point. Because up to then, I mean, it wasn't high cinema, but wasn't anything horrific. So those are my thoughts on Alien Romulus. It never really gets into the Romulus thing much. The name's not bad. I don't know, guys. I've just kind of given up. It looks like they previewed an Alien TV series that's coming out as well, which I'll probably have to check out and let you guys know how it is, because I I love the franchise because the first movie to me is just so fantastic that I feel like it just has so much potential, and the other movies have just not been that great. I am not as big of a fan of Aliens as a lot of people are. I do think it's probably the second best in the series. I mean, but look at what it's up against. I think what's happened, this thing scores a 7.4 on IMDb, and I think what's happened is there's like alien fatigue going on where the other sequels are all so bad that if you see one that's just halfway competently directed and halfway competently acted and the story is okay, it gets boosted more than it should. I would score this thing like a 6.4, not a 7.4. And that's rare for me to have a complete point difference with IMDb. I'm usually within probably half a point. But this thing it's just not that good. I just was not that impressed with it. Now, my other buddy did like it. And so maybe there's people that will like it. I mean, obviously he did. So I think it's probably maybe worth checking out at some point if you are a fan of the franchise. I just don't know if I'd see it in the theater. It's very dark. I don't mean like thematically dark, which it is, but it's the lighting is very dark in this thing. So for me, being visually impaired, it was still hard at times to tell what exactly was happening in some of the scenes. And so there's a couple of characters I couldn't tell you like how they actually died or where they went. I just know they did end up dying somehow. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts on it. Do I regret seeing it? No, I don't really regret seeing it. I at least have. It looks like Fede Alvarez also directed the sequel or the remake of Evil Dead. And so I remember seeing that and thinking it was okay. And so he's got some talent. The movie looks really good. It's just nothing really special about it. And I've just kind of given up hope on maybe there being another Alien movie that's really good. I think if they went back to their roots and they just had one that was chasing people on a ship again or on a planet. See what happened in the original Alien Covenant. They went back to the planet, and then I thought they were going to get chased around out there, which I thought would be pretty cool. But then they went back into a ship again, and so it's almost like I don't know why they keep doing that either. And then the lifespan and the life, I don't know, the lifespan and the gestation period and all this stuff doesn't make a wink of sense anymore. There's aliens showing up in this thing without there ever looking like there was a queen involved. Somebody gets one on their face, and then you get the chest burster in less than 17 minutes because I know that because of the countdown said there was 47 minutes left until impact, and then after the chest burster came out, there was 30 minutes left. So within a 15-minute window, this thing gestated and grew up and burst out of the character's chest. And so the original Alien, it seems like it takes place at least over one night, but possibly even more than that. So they just don't seem like in the original Aliens, there's one that happens. It seems like it takes longer than that, maybe even a few days. It just seems like, and then Alien 3, it's even longer than that. And now they've shortened it up quite a bit. And then in Alien Covenant, they've got something going into a guy's ear, and then it turns into one that comes out of him. It's like a little spore or something. And then they have the black goo that in Prometheus that turns into some kind of squid monster thing. So it's like they're not following. It's almost like somebody writes a book and they're not following their own rules of the magic in the book. And it really annoys me. We saw that with a lot of the Star Wars movies and The Force. It's like they forget what they write or that they put in the other movies, and so they don't even follow their own rules. But those are my thoughts on Alien Romulus. If you guys want more videos done quickly or more videos to watch, this is a way for me to do them. I realize they aren't quite as flashy or fancy, but it's really easy for me to hop on here and just give you guys my thoughts. I'll still do some of the other ones as well. You're going to see some shorts come out, and I've got books. I've written books. I spent a lot of time on. I'm reading. About 3 of them are done-ish or getting edited, and then I've got an actual novel that's coming out that's based on the other 3 books, some of the artwork in the other 3 books, and so I'm pretty excited about that. So I'll start making some trailers and showing those for you guys to check out for when those actually come out. I believe the first one's going to get published September 30th, and I would like to get probably all 4 of them out before Christmas. So pay attention to that. I've just been keeping busy with that kind of stuff. We are 20 subscribers away from being able to do like the fancy live streams where we have the super chats and all that. So if you guys could do that, that'd be awesome. I don't bug you much about subscribing or anything, but if we did get that, that would be awesome. So those are my thoughts on Alien Romulus. Ended up, decent. Oh, I'm not going to say decent, but okay, up until about 15 minutes left in it, and then just got really, really stupid. So let me know if you've seen it, what you guys thought about that scene. It's just trying too hard, I think, and it's just dumb. I can't know other way to put it. So thanks for watching the live stream, guys, and I will see you on the next episode of A Blind Guy's View. Laters on the Menjay.
Laters on the Menjay.
Ships on bigger of the waves are skimming, barren summits to the verdant plains. Each horizon is a new beginning.